kind of open for Geek Fam to show us exactly what kind of composition they want to try and go for, and we'll be flexible from there. But the fact that they are blue side.
For your investment journey with Franklin Templeton?
Oh my goodness, you're amazing.
Almost so good at this. Why?
You're so good.
Sorry,
Why?
poor timing, but you know.
So good. So good.
No, it's perfect time. It's right there.
It is. It's perfect timing. There is no wrong time, of course, to
that's
talk
true.
about Franklin Templeton, who will open the doors to your investment journey for sure. Yeah.
Okay, Divine Esports definitely did a homer here. Senna ban, Renekton ban, Camille ban, great bans against Geek Fam. It does leave Olden Lee Sin, but now they get to pick up the +2. So they could go for the standard. They get the Varus and something like Nami. Ragus is interesting here though.
Yeah, I do love the Gragas picks that have been coming out today. You know, whereas if Divine Esports can really capitalize on this, again, they're gonna throw that cast, they're gonna disrupt all the plans that Geek Fam have. But again, we were talking about how Geek Fam really need to make sure that they have a strong defense over here, because we already know how Divine Esports likes to dive in. Oh, what do you think of the pick so far?
I think it's pretty hyped stuff coming in from Divine Esports, right? It's looking like a really classic Vietnamese team comp. We are gonna run at you, we're gonna throw spears at you, chains of corruptions, and while all that's going on, there's gonna be an Akali dancing around in your backline. Good adaptation on the TF. I think this is pretty necessary, but it's two-sided, right? It's really good into the Akali, but you open yourself to get counterpicked. That's gonna be Jarvan mid for Coyote to counterpick the TF, and you're also really vulnerable to Olaf. So there's a lot of caveats here to this TF pick. Yes, it's really good against the Shroud. Yes, it's great against Akali.
Reason for that is that these are the best teams from their regions. Like, this group draw, I don't know how to put it, was incredibly uneven. A lot of the seed ones, a lot of the best teams out of their regions ended up in Group B. And Geek Fam are no different. They are the best team from the Malaysian region, and they are incredibly good. They absolutely destroyed their region, but the region itself is a little weaker in terms of macro play, in terms of map play, and relies on team fights, which is not what you want to rely on when you're playing into Divine, who are unstoppable in team fights.
Certainly are. We've already seen that witnessed earlier today as they had that one-to-one, making it as spicy as anything. I'm very curious to see where Geek Fam will play to try and find this advantage, just to try and really challenge. I mean, we look at the Shang, that was the big focus point for me. His most played champion has been as Darius. And if they can get off to a good start here, certainly a lot of potential for him to try and run this map right. As the Ignite goes out, Coyote as clean and as cold as you like. One Summoner and First Blood.
Very easy to do, and this is the Divine that you expect. Burning out early advantages off of, frankly, skill checks in lane, benefiting from their strength as players. And Coyote on a little bit more of a utility pick here, don't get me wrong, as Jarvan still does damage, as you saw. But the main purpose is to be a secondary tank, to be that front line, so that you can throw Varus, Gragas, Akali damage kind of over the top.
Got ourselves a small pause here. We'll wait to get confirmation as to what's gone on here. But in the meantime, I mean, let's break down some more of the win conditions to really look at, because Divine Esports, I do see that comfort, right? Hope One playing the Varus, Coyote flexing with this J4 as he does time and time again. But you know, how critical do we need to be towards lane when he's not playing the, you know, these assassins, when he is on this Olaf? Because we know that he can be so dominant, but it feels like one of those champions where he's like, I don't necessarily need to be the star of the show.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good flag, Skimmy, because Len maybe doesn't feel like he needs to be so dominant, but I think Divine need Len to be that dominant, because they're a team that relies on team fights. They're a team that isn't as good at executing macro play across the map, and that's not a problem for Divine when they have the early game momentum that lends Lee Sin, that lends Kha'Zix, that lends even Jarvan can give them. Because Len is so good at showing up early in these lanes and just grabbing kills. Olaf, it's a little harder to do that. Olaf needs what's known as gank assist. He needs somebody else in the lane to find a stun, to find a slow, to open up the lane. Because Olaf himself doesn't have the tools to lock people down well enough to actually find kills by himself. So you're going to see less lane impact, frankly, from Len. Also, Olaf not highly mobile, so you're not going to see as quick map movement from Len. And in the series earlier today, when they played versus Flash Wolves, I think that really cost them. I think the fact that Len wasn't able to get into lanes early and find an advantage really dropped Divine behind.
Yeah, and I wonder if we can sort of draw any comparisons between that game and this one here, because we are going into another of those marksmen which does want to navigate this early game with as much precision and power as possible, and say we're going to keep it even, we're going to keep it tense, and we're going to continue to deliver what we have seen tonight already be an effect of close games, high tension, high stakes, and late game shenanigans which really boil everything to a close in dramatic fashion.
Yeah. So here we go. Geek Fam, the most important metric here is, and we're going to find it out very quickly, can they teamfight toe-to-toe with Divine? The metric we've seen so far for the Malaysian region, both in this tournament and the Summer Super Cup, here's Len, early gank.
Yeah, that's going to force out the Valkyrie. Just going to walk away from this one, just letting them know, hey, I'm here. Step away, you got vision, doesn't matter. Cataclysm goes out as well as Coyote expends the last remnants of his mana. Not going to find the kill though, and actually is in a 1v2, just stepping up.
Yeah. So the metric we have so far from the Malaysian region is, frankly, not looking very good for them. It doesn't look like that they've been able to go toe-to-toe with Divine Esports. But Geek Fam were incredibly dominant regionally, right? They look good versus other teams in their region. So maybe this result notwithstanding, as 69 just gets caught out inside his own jungle, maybe they can just amp up these team fights and win through those coming into the mid game.
That's what they'll be banking on, but not if they get picked apart like you just saw there. A kill found, and a kill sorely needed if you're a Divine Esports fan, because you want to see the ball move. You want to see the motions turning, the presence and power that has made this team such a feared roster in the past. And, Geek Fam are sort of welcoming themselves into that trap.
Frankly, every team that wants to lead this group, that wants to get out of this group with a good scoreline, needs to have a very good performance against Geek Fam. If our perception is right, and they are one of the weaker teams in this group of death, which, isn't a slight at Geek Fam, it's just they happen to be in a group with 3-4 of the best teams in the world. So every team here that wants to be counted among one of those best teams in the world needs to put in a very solid performance against Geek Fam. And any games Geek Fam can upset, they have this very chaotic, mechanics-focused playstyle, exactly the kind of playstyle that sometimes trips very good teams up. If they can get some good team fights out, if they can demonstrate those mechanics and take a game or two off of Divine, that could have massive implications for the remainder of this tournament, for who gets out of groups, in what position.
Yeah, and it feels like the sort of similar narrative to what we mentioned about SVP at a Group A, right? A team that we've assessed so far is not really being in the top 4 contention, but certainly enough firepower at their disposal to flourish in a best-of-2 format and upset the balance of these other teams all vying for those playoff spots. Now, first Dragon winner with Divine Esports. Geek Fam respond in fitting fashion. We're going to switch the map, go for this Herald. The tidal wave goes out as they're getting zoned away from this Herald, getting closer and closer to smite range, but it looks like it's resetting. Yes, it is. Up to full HP, but the fight ensues. Another fight starts. Len takes the kill, and that is going to be Momo actually using the package to try and disengage away, splitting the fight in half, and trying to chase off any key members that maybe overextend. Not going to be the case here. Divine Esports topped up and healthy, and they take down the Shang.
Yeah, in an interesting attempt by Momo, he's doing what's very, very hard for early-level Corki very effectively, dropping the package and just racing across the entire team fight, laying out that AoE damage, trying to bait Divine into fighting on top of it. And I want to give him credit for being able to do that and survive the experience, but it doesn't get Divine, any further away from that Rift Herald. It doesn't get Geek Fam any closer to the fight, because Divine just say, no, thank you, we don't want a team fight. And Geek Fam don't have the tools to start him.
Yeah, I mean, Len just walks in eventually. He says, whilst you guys are fighting, I'll claim that Herald. He has it in his possession now. It's worth noting he did not summon it topside to take the first turret of the game. So that's still in their possession. A big power play now for them to try and trade blow for blow with Geek Fam here and say, what is your answer? What is your response? Because that was a freebie. But we've got plenty more tricks up our sleeve with this at our disposal.
And a game like this really does come down to snowballing gold for Divine, because they don't ever want to be kind of within striking distance of the Geek Fam team fights. So expect them to just try and maintain this momentum, keep rolling on the ball. The big thing they can't do is give up any sketchy team fights, so yeah, you're going to save that Rift Herald. They'll probably spend it once they get a kill here in mid, or to get a kill here in mid.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? That's just wonderful right there. The chain of corruptions into the cast, locked in place. No flash to be used, just CC locked. And an easy kill onto Moment. Now the Herald will be summoned. The killer's found. And the base is being broken. It's going to get a second charge off. I mean, Geek Fam being zoned away from this one. Whether or not Divine want this fight is not really a question, as the Ragnarok has to be utilized. They run away, but job done.
And that's what you use the Rift Herald effectively for. We've seen a lot of kind of, I don't know, budget dollar store Rift Heralds, corner store Rift Heralds this tournament. That was a big value Rift Herald. That Rift Herald was used to get the entire pack of groceries you need for the week, as it not only got the turret, but also opened up for the kill. It ensured that there was going to be something taking turret aggro. My god, Coyote. He's going to go for the Shang as well.
I guess he heard that you were talking about food, so he was getting hungry. He said, I'm going to make sure that your KDA looks like you're feeding, and not in the food way. So, yeah,
wow.
This J4, kind of strong, kind of beefy.
Skimmy. I thought I was going to go one direction, and then it swerved and went a different direction, and then it swerved again, and what it did was just incredible. You connected those two thoughts.
We've got to keep you on your toes here, mate. It's not as easy as just breaking this one down as play-by-play and analyst.
Oh, look at the flank.
We're on this journey, which is Wild Rift. We're having a conversation, and we're living the experience of what Divine Esports can do in Game 1 up against Geek Fam. Cody jumps in, he walks away, the bleed stacks won't be enough. And Shang will die for 20 seconds, and at 8 minutes into this game, this gold lead is insane. Now, 10,000 to talk about for Divine.
Yeah. The Shang is one of the best players in Malaysia, if not the best player in Malaysia. Okay.
That's a nice bit of an answer back. If they can try and find this kill towards Tarnex, who's already picked up an MVP performance so far. Down goes the Shroud.
Nice.
Enough time to be found. You can hit skill shots. I don't know where you are, but we found you, and that's all that matters. Geek Fam get their first kill of the game.
Very well played by Geek Fam to get a kill back over. And it's gonna turn into a turret up top as well, because they can't contest this Drake, but they know that. So they're going to give away the Drake in exchange for the turret. And maybe, depending on how Coyote plays it, a kill up there as well. Oh no, he forces them off. Wow.
Yeah, they won't even get a single plate. How demoralizing is that right now? You can hit the gold card. There's the Cataclysm. You're forced to flash away. Quay. He's got the flash. He's got the body slam. Is he going to go for the free 6180 no scope on this barrel? He's waiting for the cooldown. It's soon to be there. Oh no, he's lost vision. He's lost vision. Surely not. Not anymore. Nope, zoned away. 4 members are here. And Quay says, all right, you've prevented me getting the highlight reel.
Clay's going for the three-pointer from half court. Just trying to find the explosive cast that gets the kill there. Unable to do it. And yeah, I mean, you're looking at the numbers, and there's an instant bias where you're like, oh my god, Geek Fam couldn't even take the turret fight, and that sucks. But also Coyote has 2 items on them, and with the Trap Claw, it's almost impossible to shut him down. I was hoping they would have enough time to do damage to that turret before he arrived, but Twisted Fate with just 1 item doesn't quite, especially early Rod of Ages, doesn't quite have the damage to just melt turrets in the way he does late game.
Okay,
something
Quay,
you know.
I see you.
You're
He's shaking his booty over there, isn't he? He's getting a little bit excited, a little bit rowdy, saying, hey, I might be a support player, but let's have a bit of a dance, bit of a tango. Taking me on the Shang. Let's go.
Oh my god. He's just staying here. And Divine have a really hard problem right now, Skimmy. They're winning the game, but there's nothing for them to do. They can't start the Baron yet. They're going to collect everyone and fake it, I think. They have just seen the Destiny, actually, so now they can go for it. There we go.
Huge. Yeah, and just as you say, right on cue, Quay jumps in, says, let's see what
That's
you do. What's your response?
What was that?
Waiting for a bit of a cheeky engage. Nothing's going to become about it, and he's just going to waddle straight back into the Baron pit. And now they're going to start it, and Hucky has to begin the huge journey from bot all the way up to this Baron. The kill's already happened. The damage has already been done. Cody's found the first kill. The marksman is gone. Moments out of the equation. The jungler's down for 30. And, I mean, Divine Esports are saying this is what a 10k gold lead looks like visualized.
Which we all appreciate them doing some data visualization, but I would just like to point out, as a point of soft flame, that Coyote missed literally every cooldown on his engage there twice. He did still get the kills because they've got a 10k gold lead. But I don't know, maybe clean that up going into the next game.
We're clutching at straws here. Yeah, you're an A student, but
He
it should
missed
be an A
the
plus.
Cataclysm. I mean, come on.
Yeah, point and click ultimate. How do you miss that one, Chief? I don't know. But some questions maybe best left unanswered.
Yeah, it is still a 10k gold lead, and that's why it looks a little desync very likely. You also saw Coyote go in when very clear that the rest of the team was like, let's go burn back and burn the Baron, and Coyote was like, I'm gonna fight! And that sort of stuff doesn't happen on teams that are worried about winning the game, because you have very clear comms. So, says to me that Divine aren't worried about this one at all. It's just dotting the I's, crossing the T's, filing the forms, getting the game win.
I mean, if this is the same player we had in the interview that was literally acting like a Chad saying, I don't really care, you know, then he's a guy that's not going to mind too much about chugging out some cooldowns and seeing what does and does not stick. And as we say that, I mean, the Baron pressure is being felt. The squeeze is on. The 1-3-1, every lane collapsing. Shanks somehow dead off screen. Bit of a nightmare for him to try and contend with.
Both
one
summoners.
inhibitor's already gone here, TJ. A second one is about to follow. And this is a very dominant game number one performance. Geek Fam have to do something. They're just losing to minion pressure.
Len flash ults underneath the turret on Olaf. All right, mate. Finds the turret, keeps going.
Oh, dearie me. They've just absolutely wiped the floor with this base. Nothing is left standing, not a single turret. Let's take a quick stock check here. So, 20k gold lead, 9 turrets to 1. It's not the perfect game. Okay, let's not get too excited. It's a dominant game. But I think Geek Fam now, I mean, we talk about turtling, we talk about inhibitors maybe giving you a bit of resources. There's no way you can leave the base, TJ. You're stuck at home.
It's a
House
little
arrest.
rough. Kwai will come back out and can by himself solo the Lee Sin as the support Gragas. Not a great sign.
Okay, Tan, I see what you're doing. There's one kill. Okay,
Wow.
a little more time with the Zonias. Beautiful cast knockback. Everybody from Divine here is just looking to try and put themselves into the contention of that montage where we say, this is the team to watch coming out of Vietnam so far. They've zoned them into the fountain. They've welcomed them into the Sea Champs. And at the 13-minute mark, Divine Esports take game one.
And it's very easy off of that game one to say, oh man, Geek Fam sucks.
How they approach the game, how they approach their draft, for example, right here, and their individual, like their mechanical skills. This just needs a total rework indeed.
I think the difference here with Geek Fam going for red side is that they really want to try and grab some prio picks here and be able to, you know, they slip past like the first one. I think grabbing Lee Sin first didn't really help them out all too much. So maybe with the double prio picks early on, they get more power. But I think they really have to be careful about letting the Camille get away. Yeah, there we go. And then just focus on getting that bot lane prio first, and then just hope to counter pick later on that Baron side.
Target's first pick being snatched up with no Senna available does limit it a bit in terms of what role it can optimally flex to. I don't think Divine are too worried about that one though. The Gragas cast last game was quite close to perfect. Geek Fam though, what is your adaptation here? It looks like they might want to play something with a bit of a hyper carry comp with Nunu and Willem in here.
Okay. I mean, Nunu is still pretty viable. I think Brand has seen a little bit of decay in popularity because of the hotfix to him. But the Nunu is still quite relevant. Unfortunately, we haven't seen all that much from him in the competition so far, so we can't make a full assessment. But I know a lot of teams have been starting to put the practice in to try and make this one work. But Divine are going to go for a very nice one. I think the Kha'Zix is a good response.
I just want to say that wild growth onto the Nunu. That is that's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah. And yeah, there we go. They are setting up for a bit of a hyper carry angle. Kai'Sa is gonna be very comfortable navigating these fights because while Nunu doesn't quite enable hyper carry buffs, what Nunu does is he creates an area of zone control where you can't get to the hyper carry, and that's what makes him so good together with a Kai'Sa, with a Lulu. And this is gonna be a bit interesting though because they've committed to a hyper carry team composition and they've opted to pick up a Fiora. So it seems like they can't quite decide which angle they want to go for here. Do we want to play for a hyper carry or do we want to play for a split pusher? They're trying to do a bit of both, and I never like when teams try to do that.
Look, Ormo, I think SSK gave the best quote regarding this.
Top lane doesn't matter?
Top lane doesn't matter. The game is a 4 versus 4. The Shang and Tanex are going to play their own thing. So Geek Fam really only have the 4 left to play for. And so you're looking to make that Kai'Sa the hyper carry in those 4. And I think they can do that against Divine Esports.
Wasn't this gimmick?
Yeah, that was an easy setup and a slam dunk to yourself.
And I'll tell you why I'm a Geek fan. is because of the Nunu. And this is something that we've seen a little bit of in Wild Rift with the Jarvan occasionally turning towards the jungle. But one of the problems that Wild Rift has is it's really hard to run tanks in this game. Kind of Galio is about the extent of it. You get Galio, you get Gragas, you get Mundo. Those are the beefy boys that can be played in meta right now. And that defines team comps because a lot of teams want to play front-to-back AD carry compositions but need to run an enchanter support because none of the tank supports are especially good. Need to run a assassin jungle because there are no tank jungles, right? You can get Jarvan jungle sometimes, and he's a pseudo tank in the late game. So it's actually kind of interesting to me that Nunu's coming into the meta. I don't think this is the game that is gonna work because Geek Fam have almost no gold. They have almost no damage. So they're just going to run out of gold very early, not be able to contest lane because it's like Galio, and they're going to lose. But I think it is really interesting that we're seeing a tank in the jungle because it unlocks more front-to-back teamfight comps. It unlocks compositions that can have a little bit beefier of a front line. That's really fun.
I mean, it is really fun. We have seen a fair few variations of it already. Teams, you know, rocking the fire and ice, looking to try and make everything nice, do it the brand, do it the Nunu. And say, look, on paper, we shouldn't win. Like, there's no way we should be winning this mid-jungle duo, but somehow they found a way. So, no doubt, Geek Fam are looking to try and spice things up here and say, look, I don't think we can beat you conventionally. Look, Nunu is not a champion that's going to be contested. We're going to lock it in second anyway. We're going to reveal our cards and say, what you going to do about it?
Yeah, I wasn't a giant fan of that. If you have a pocket pick that nobody's expecting, save it for your last pick, or save it until the middle of the draft. Yeah. Here is one other thing that's kind of really interesting. This composition that Geek Fam are running is entirely focused around protecting key carries. That's why you run Lulu typically. That's certainly why you run Galio. So, looking at the map, what are the key carries? It's Momo, it's the Shang. Already, here's the focus up top.
Yep, in comes the snowball. Headbutts the wall. Doesn't even matter, but now Tarnik's in a 1v2 situation, trying to buy as much time as he can. The aggro doesn't switch.
Did I get a
Shang.
turret?
Could have been a kill. Will they get the turret? Well, the answer is Divine Esports making a cross-map play and say, you take out our top laner. We'll just remove your Dragon Lane instead. A beautiful dive executed here by Len. He's going to pay the price for it as Nyx chases him down with the lance and then gets a beautiful taunt afterwards. And somehow, that is the most fed Lulu I've ever seen in my life. Lulu support on a killing spree with a triple.
It's happening! Pull up your hats, Geek Fam! Up 4-1 in the early trading. As after a dominant game one, Divine Esports are caught a little bit asleep at the wheel. And all of those bot lane kills don't matter as much because it's just kills being passed to the Lulu. I don't really know what's gonna come from that. But what I will tell you is that the fact that that trade goes positive for Geek Fam matters a ton because the main purpose of it is to, as I said, direct gold to a carry. The Shang, in this case, is Geek Fam's major carry. He's easily their best player. He is one of the stars, if not the best player in the Malaysian region. And if they can just give this Fiora so much gold that she can 1v5, then the Shang is the player to execute that strat. So that's the game plan. That's what they're gunning for, and that's why 69 is in here on the top line.
Certainly is. Keeps rolling with that snowball. Hits a two-man knockup, but not before Coyote can rotate through. Says, I could be a jungler, but I'm actually a mid laner doing a jungle role. Jumps on through, has no cataclysm, and cops an full absolute zero to the head and says, that's cool, I'll just walk away. Or will he? Yes, he will. From one bush to another.
I don't know. So Geek Fam getting some access early. And I'm watching the Shang actually recalling as Coyote's kind of prowling. He just went in for the play. He gets the kill. On the minimap, Coyote finds the kill. That's actually massive.
69, he's looking for it. The snowball connects. I was wondering if Coyote could try and, juke up the flag and drag. Must have been on cooldown. Nowhere to turn, nowhere to run. And, yeah, I guess he gets his answer back.
That's not where you want it to go. That's bad gold. That's garbage gold. That's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom gold. Because all of it's going on to your Yeti boy, who's very cute, but isn't going to be doing damage. This is tank Nunu. So you ideally want that gold onto the Shang, and they don't get it. It's a positive trade for Divine.
You know what I'd love to have seen is Nick say, look, I know I'm a support player. We're not going Ardent Sense. It's not the staff of the Flowing Waters. Just insta-buys Ludens with that triple and says, I'm the AP for it now. Be feared. Like, I'm not caring about pocketing you. I'm here to hit big, fat doinks with this Quiver Lance.
Three-man setup down bottom here. I think the Shang survives it just because it's a real pain to dive a Fiora. We'll see.
Look at this Nunu. It's everywhere. I mean, it just keeps coming up into lanes to try and make the Shang's life as easy as possible.
He's moving and he's schmoving. Little Nunu everywhere. One of the other reasons why I do expect to see a little bit more Nunu in the meta over the next couple of days, over the next couple of weeks, is that Nunu's move speed actually makes him incredibly effective as a support jungler, right? You can see he's in every single lane responding to every single gank. In the same way we talk about Aurelian's Soul as kind of a scuffed, twisted fate because of his ability to be anywhere on the map.
Coyote with the all-in here, though. Cataclysm goes out, hits the flag.
Very well played.
Shang just responds, pops the barrier. Both pop a summoner. Both just walk away, and Quay says, I can do what this Nunu can. Rocks up a little bit later, but now the Herald will be summoned, and 3 members, plus the Bug, will now try and take out Darius and this turret.
Rift Herald will collapse, and this is going to be a turret surviving very likely, but a decent amount of gold passed over to Geek Fam. It is still kind of cursed gold. It is still kind of Pirates of the Caribbean gold.
Oh
dear.
What an apprehend. Stop it, Tan. Stop it. What was that? The absolute zero. Will it be used? No, that's just a redemption. Okay.
So it is still kind of Pirates of the Caribbean gold, cursing you to a life of eternal suffering aboard a pirate ship. But Momo at least gets some of it. So it's a little bit of good gold for Geek Fam if Momo can become a late game carry on this Kai'Sa, which is possible. The big problem is this isn't a team composition with a ton of damage, so even though they're doing pretty well right now, they do have a 1k gold lead. Divine are just gonna show up in this mid game and be a real pain to deal with for a team that doesn't have the possibility to team fight them even.
Question is, will they be patient enough to even wait for that moment? Because Geek Fam have been very resilient, very eager to take down this turret because the Herald wasn't enough. It's slim margins. It's not going to be enough. Oh, but the Shang in the mid lane. Cops are beating 1v2.
Get him, Nick.
And Divine Esports will get the first turret instead.
And Ajax snaps up to the mid lane to try and take the fight. Unable to. Divine know what's going on here. Divine have been around the block, you know? They've seen some things.
Sure.
And they look at this composition and they say, this is a hard carry composition. And the Shang's the best player in the Malaysian region. Why don't we just focus the Shang? And they're right, and it's working. Because despite Geek Fam having a lead right now, you can see they just kind of don't have any damage. And a huge part of that is that the Shang is still on his first item. He's still on that Trinity Force.
Yeah, he's lagging behind in comparison. Not too much ahead, really, of the supports on his team. And as you said, the gold mismatch. I mean, it's not really their fault. The circumstances kind of meant that the gold went those ways of a Nunu and a Lulu in crazy fashion, to say the least, especially with the triple. But they need time, and I'm not sure if Divine will offer them that time, right? It's just they're saying, this is your win condition, this is what you need to play around. We're going to capitalize on this. And we're running this map by saying, Dragon on spawn, it's ours for the taking.
Yeah. I mean, the gold right there is fairy food. It's Pan's Labyrinth food. Where Geek Fam are getting the gold, they're eating the food, but they're going to spend their entire life in the Labyrinth because they don't have any damage. Look at Momo there.
Yeah, Momo's copping a bit of a beating so far, and he's going to get zoned away from this barrel as the Dragon is down to 50%. Now, bear in mind, redemption will be used. They're going to try and top them up. No damage spread around. Chomp, Smite could be huge. Will they entertain the idea of a 50-50? No, they won't. The Dragon gets reset. There's the flash. There's the dash. And there's a wild growth popped very early onto the Nunu, who walks away, flags and drags. I can't even use my absolute zero. I baited myself. Lens Playground jumps in, finds one, finds two. It's an Easter egg. It's a surprise.
That's gonna be 4.
And he's found a toy with it. He's sitting on a triple. I'm jumping up and down. There's the quadri. Give this man the penta. Oh, wait, they're all dead. Never mind.
All right. Well, Geek Fam should not have, they had no business fighting that dragon. They don't have any damage. I think that became abundantly clear. And Divine just love it. They say, all right, step up, show us what you got. We're just going to keep poking. Don't mind us. We've got a Ziggs. He's just going to keep throwing bombs in. You can stand here awkwardly right next to the dragon while the dragon ships away at you and the Ziggs throws bombs in. And we'll live our best life. We're thriving over here doing our skincare routines. waiting for you guys to get bored. The second it looks like Geek Fam might want to turn around and run away, they throw the Mega Inferno Bomb, send Len in to clean up.
Just Len versus the world. I mean, it just seems so criminal to me when you've got a composition built with all these bodyguards to say you are not allowed to make things like that happen. You're in a choke spot. I mean, it should be so easy, in theory, right? For the polymorphs, for the Absolute Zero, for the hero's entrance, to knock you up, disrupt your flow, and prevent you from leaping around, having so much fun like it is hopscotch. But that's not the case here, and Divine deploys straight back into this map. Now with a healthy gold lead, 6k to talk about dirty. Look at the damage from the Mega Inferno Bomb. Hope 1 deletes him out of the game. That's a Galio, that's a tank, but not anymore.
Yeah, and this should be a Baron over to Divine. Shang recognizes what's going on the map. He's just farming on the opposite side. That's what you've got to do in order to come back into this game. Geek Fam can't really contest.
Hungry Nunu, absolute zero, and 0 damage. That's a little bit sad to see. Gonna fall on down, dropped by the guillotine. Says hello, the Baron is the bait. Back to back now, Geek Fam have taken fights where they're baited by the objective. Divine Esports don't care about it. They just want to bring you in, and it's always working for them.
It's hard to play these games because you need to be in a mindset where you're like, okay, we can't win this fight. We just need to sit back and lose and try and lose slowly for long enough that the other team makes a mistake. And 9 times out of 10 in professional playing, nobody's going to make a mistake. But especially, you know, this is a lesson that you can map onto your solo queue gameplay because people do make a ton of mistakes in solo queue gameplay. If you just sit back, let the other team get those objectives, lose slowly, someone will hand you something eventually and you can turn the game around. And that's what Geek Fam need to be doing. Because stepping up to 5v5 by the team that has this much of a gold lead on you is just insane. You're never going to win.
But do you believe in the
No.
Kaiser 1v9? Have you seen this prophecy unleashed before? Because I certainly haven't, because Len's jumped in, he's stolen the blue buff, he's onto the key target.
Oh,
Nice
dear.
splash! Credit where credit is due, 69 delivers, and out comes Haki, looking to try and split apart this fight, realizes that's not where I want to be. Flash away, satchel charge won't connect, and Geek Fam are trying to put a plaster on a broken bone.
Sure, I think that's an approved medical procedure, though.
Red team lost a turret.
In this case,
And if this isn't an approved medical procedure, whatever's happening here is not helping the patient.
yep, the Vitals aren't looking too good in this one. They're not looking healthy, and they're certainly not looking happy. Down 10,000 gold. They've been in this spot before. Game 1 was a 13-minute shellacking, and it's looking to be the exact same here this time around. Bear in mind, they had the Baron buff. They hit the squeeze. 3 inhibitors fell on down. But Divine Esports taking their time this time around. Not going to be as haphazard and commanding, but they are still looking for the end goal, which is to take everything that this map offers.
You ever break a bone, Skimmy?